Special thank you to EA for providing access to the Life and Death expansion pack. Hello and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. Today we're in the world of Henford-on-Bagley, building on this 50 by 40 lot located here. It is normally a park in the world of Henford-on-Bagley, but I thought I would build something a bit more useful. Not that it's, a park's not useful or anything, but this is a bit more functional. Not only can it serve as a graveyard or cemetery, but your Sims can actually have and host celebrations of life here as well. So that is what we're building now. We're building the structure for that, which is going to resemble an old church, kind of, in a way. Obviously, there's no religion in The Sims, and really that doesn't matter. So, but at least that's what I was kind of going for, was some kind of like old style building to fit around the overall style of Henford-on-Bagley. So yeah, just kind of building the structure for that. There is a first floor and a second floor. The second floor really isn't too much going on up there. It's just like an open space, another memorial table, and then the toilet, basically. So there isn't too much. The downstairs is kind of where the main ceremonies will take place. So yeah. But before we go any further, I do want to mention, if you are picking up the Life and Death expansion pack, feel free to use my creator code. It's just TheSimified. Also, feel free to use my creator code for the two new kits, which are the Cozy Kish kit and the Sweet Slumber kit. These are really cool kits that were creator kits. So they're two CC creators, and they got to create their own kits for the game, which is awesome. They built the objects themselves and basically made the entire kit. So yeah, feel free to use my creator code, or at least use the creator's creator code. So yeah, you'll see the names with the little images there. But I am also hosting a giveaway for the two new kits over on X. I will link those in the video description below, and also put like a pinned comment where you can quickly go enter those giveaways. That giveaway ends November 23rd, 2024. So about a week to go. Very short giveaway period because they're just two kits, pretty small. So yeah, trying to figure out the entrance and like side exit here, and putting in some details there. Roofing, I do believe we stay with a Life and Death roof, but I think I go for a slightly darker shade than this. Maybe I stick with that one. I don't remember. I do apologize also if I sound a little different. I am and have been battling a pretty gross cold all week long. So yeah, I'm kind of out of it a little bit. Not out of it, but like, I don't know. I'm almost over the cold. I'm just kind of got a little bit of congestion left. So yeah, and maybe a slightly altered voice, but yeah, I'm glad that's behind me, because I don't know, it was like 7 days of just cold symptoms. Like, it was varying cold symptoms, but and I thought the sore throat was the worst part, but no, it was the congestion the one night where I just couldn't breathe at all. Yeah, that was so fun. I had the worst sleep ever. So, but I'm happy to be feeling better. And then that's why this video is a day late, because I wanted to wait until my voice actually sounded close to normal, so I could record the audio for this. So putting together the inside, there are two staircases up to the second floor. And I use Life and Death doors here. They're kind of like older. I imagine that this building has been here for a very long time, as is like, the Henford world itself is kind of a bit more of like an older classical style, kind of been here for centuries, if you know what I mean. So that's what I was going for here. So yeah, just kind of making the inside look kind of nice, but also cozy in a way. I do like this wallpaper that came with Life and Death. It has a variety of colors, but I like this color that I chose for the interior of this building. And yeah, you can access the staircases to go upstairs. Obviously, it's not like symmetrical upstairs, but it's not supposed to be. I wanted it to have that little bit of asymmetry going on there. just to kind of make it feel like they added an extension, or like the second floor was added on later on, to kind of house a toilet when they got plumbing, maybe. You could spin it that way. I was thinking about putting like an office up here, but then I thought, oh my God, no, we can't put a computer on this lot because Sims will just be up there playing on the computer instead of mourning their fellow Sims, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, no. I am actually regretting putting in a bookshelf like I did over there, because it seems like Sims gravitate towards that bookshelf and will pull books out and then just leave them on the floor. So there's like books everywhere when I was playtesting. So I'm like, oh, this is great. I should have never put that in there either. But I'm so happy that I did not put the computer in there, because that would have been a nightmare, I can imagine. I mean, yeah. I mean, the books are just bad enough to have books all over the floor. Like, you know, you're supposed to have a nice like morning ceremony here, and yeah, like Sims are just reading books. Also, I did put a coffin briefly upstairs, like as another memorial space, but then I thought, oh, what if like the game gets confused when you're actually having the ceremony kind of thing going on, like the remembrance or the celebration of life. I was like, oh yeah, we better not chance that. So we're just going to have the one coffin inside. Also, I do notice there is one chair that is slightly the wrong color there. I've noticed that. It actually made it to the gallery like that, so I do apologize for that. But in the screenshots, when I realized it, I fixed it, but I did not fix it on the gallery version. But yeah, like at first, you really don't notice it until you get in closer, and then it's like, oh, is that a different color chair? It is. So yeah, apologize for that oversight. I mean, I do try my best and try to pay attention to details, but some things slip through the cracks. So yeah. Now we move to the outside. I think most of the interior at this point, for like the old kind of church building, is pretty much finished. The exterior is kind of obviously the main focal point. So this is where we'll have the gravestones and like coffins and different kind of little burial areas. So I grabbed this fence from the debug. I think this came with Life and Death. Also, I do want to mention that this lot is available on the Sims 4 gallery as well. Here's the gallery listing. So I did only use 2 packs, Life and Death and Cottage Living, mainly Cottage Living for the landscaping to kind of make it fit within Henford-on-Bagley. Maybe a couple of other items scattered around that used Cottage Living, but there are a lot of grave areas here. Of course, you have the crypts as well, which can hold Sims as well. So lots of space here for a good Henford-on-Bagley graveyard or cemetery. There is actually a difference in the terminology too, which is I thought was interesting. So yeah, that was interesting to kind of read about, because I'm like, well, I want to name it properly. So how do I do that? So graveyard is the one that kind of has normally a church kind of near it. So I went with the graveyard name, but a cemetery is more like just a burial ground, basically. Usually no church associated with it. So I was like, oh, didn't know that. Learned something new today. Because I don't know, like death really isn't it's not that I'm not comfortable with death. It's just something that I never really like thought that there would be a difference in the terminology of. Like, I was just like, okay, like you kind of use them interchangeably anyway. At least I do in my life. So I didn't know that there was a difference, but yeah, I looked that up. And so that was interesting to learn. So yeah, doing some terrain painting, which the terrain painting is a lot. We will be here a while doing terrain painting. But I went with this stone terrain paint and kind of squared it all off in some different areas here. Tried to fit it in the grid tiles. That way I could use edging, which we do add a bit later. And then adding this second entrance space. So these fence gates are actually open, but Sims just walk through the gate like it doesn't even exist anyway. I also placed some like coffins around here, as you can see, because I wanted it to feel like there were Sims that were going to be buried there, especially like the one over here by the crypt, like the yellow coffin. Like I put it outside the door. Like your Sims can still get around it to like interact with the crypt, but I wanted it to make it feel like it was something that had to like slide into the crypt and would be stored in the crypt. So I just thought that was kind of a neat little detail to do. And then the other like coffins and stuff scattered around the property are like Sims that like they need to dig the hole essentially, not to be so like morbid about it, but like they need to dig the hole and bury them, and then they'll end up with like the nice like marble or like concrete like grave top and stone like the rest of them. So it's kind of like a work in progress kind of detail kind of thing is kind of what I was making it look like. You know what I mean? Like it's an active graveyard. So we do have a couple of scattered stones throughout here that don't have the fancy like concrete grave pad. So yeah, I just kind of felt like that they were maybe like early people before they like invented concrete or something, or had these stones. I don't know. It's just the details, I guess, to make it feel more alive, even though all the Sims here are dead. So yeah, I don't know. Just doing a little bit of clutter there. I found this book. I think it was called Grandma's Will, and I think that came with Life and Death, but I kind of like tucked it in the podium to make it feel like it's something you would pull out and put on, and you'd have like your speech or your notes or something. We do scatter around a little bit of like candles and like a little bit of flowers here and there on a couple of like the grave sites, but I don't go overboard. I feel like that's something that you can do yourself, like if you do put a sim or assign a sim to a graveyard, and then kind of just you can decorate it out and visit and add that stuff yourself if you like. I do have to say, just playtesting, a lot of Sims come here. There's actually an NPC that comes by and he like will sweep off the stones and stuff with a broom and everything. Like he kind of like tends to it, which I thought was cool. And then Sims will actually come and just do that as well on their own. Throughout the whole place, they'll kind of like sweep the stones off like in front there, like you can see like little name tags on the ground there. They'll kind of like brush them off with their hands, and they kind of do a little bit of like a mournful sad interaction too. So yeah, I don't know, but like there's nobody really buried here yet, which I thought was interesting, but it's just, I guess, something that they do associated with it. But yeah, so landscaping is all cottage living landscaping. I use these different color bushes here compared to the rest of the lot. Also, this like wall piece here, I believe that was also cottage living. I wanted to make it feel like there might have been an old part of the like church building there that kind of like fell down and they kind of like rebuilt, but still kept that old wall piece there. Or like maybe there was an extension at that point or part that kind of like fell down like a wall or something. I don't know. It was just a nice little detail I thought to have on the back there. A little bit different, but still with like the Henford kind of style, and just figuring out bushes here. And then we do add some effects to the little like pond here. I do add swans and then I think white ducks, and there also is the bog log and a couple of the lily pads, which you can actually click on and have like a turtle sun on the log, or frogs like allowed to jump on the lily pads. So nice. But I didn't really go all out in landscaping around the pond. I just wanted it to be more visible and not kind of covered in like the reeds or like the pond weeds, I guess. I just wanted it to be a bit more visible, but still, a little bit of a body of water there on the lot itself. Just figuring out tree placement here. I do keep trees along the very back, but I alt place them so they kind of hang off the edges of the lots. Because I didn't want them to like overshadow the grave spaces back on the back part of the lot there, and I didn't want them to clip through the fence either. But they still stay, and they place just fine. They're definitely out of the way, so yeah, it achieved the look I was going for. And I think it's a really pretty lot in the end. Different lighting on different days is nicer. I tend to find that the evening is the nicest, like around 4 p.m. when like the sun is setting, versus like midday. Like right now we're building like midday, or even like early morning when you're getting the sunrise. The lighting is also pretty too. Nighttime as well, because the place actually does light up pretty well. Also, The requirements list here actually asks for 2 benches, and there are benches that I did place. They're like stone looking benches that come with life and death. They're in the benches category, but they do not count against the requirement. I believe that's a bug, so hopefully they fix that and make those stone benches that actually do come with life and death count, because like I said, they're under the category, but they don't count against the requirement for the cemetery. So I had to use like base game benches, which is what you saw me place like up near the door here, or both doors actually, kind of out of the way, because they're a totally different style, but it's the only thing that really counted against the requirements, so that I could get rid of the red exclamation point. Doing some lights around some of the little grave areas just to kind of light them up a little bit. I use these like spotlights and then shrink them down really small to kind of make it feel like it's like maybe like a tiny candle or something. And then I hide some lights in those pieces there. I believe those like pieces that I placed on the ground are actually like roof like decoration pieces, but I liked the idea of them being on the ground as like a fancy grave area. So that's kind of what I was planning with that part. But I believe we're almost done with the exterior lighting, and then we're jumping right into the screenshots. So yeah, there it is. I think this is pretty nice. There's a lot of activity that goes on around here. Ghosts, but this is at night, which is weird because it's not like super dark. Must have just been the weather conditions. I don't know, but it's still nice. Lights up pretty bright, I think. But this is Henford Graveyard. The game sometimes will call it Henford Glades Graveyard, which was the original name I set for it. So it might refer to both, but on the gallery it's called Henford Graveyard. Just shortened for simplicity's sake, but it might also be called Henford Glades Graveyard if your Sims happen to visit it, because I guess that's like the full name. There is a lot of like natural landscaping and stuff in the world anyway, so it's like a very pretty little serene area. And I thought it was a perfect place to have a cemetery. So yeah, a nice little place to kind of bury your Sims instead of the park, which was actually pretty sad. When I bulldozed it, it looked a little sad. There wasn't a whole lot to do. There were more trees on the lot than there were actually activities. So yeah. Also interesting is that when I was doing screenshots and stuff, a little rabbit stopped by and was running down the middle. And I thought that was so cute because he's just like there, and then he was like scratching himself and just kind of checking out the place, which I thought was just so neat. And then as you can see, Sims just kind of sweep the stones off, and they just kind of scatter around here and just admire like the dedication or the memorial table as well. And yeah, just a lot going on here, and it's a very fun lot. I do hope you enjoyed. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Don't forget you can find it on the gallery as well. My EA ID is just Simified. And yeah, I think we're nearing the end. So I do thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon with another video.